This is Meridith Elliott Powell, and are you ready to take the Thrive Indicator Quiz? Find out where you fall on the scale of success and get the tips and strategies you need to turn all of this uncertainty to your competitive advantage. Then all you have to do is text the word redefined, the text word redefined to 66866. Again, text redefined to 66866 to find out where you fall on the scale of success.
Welcome to Thrive, turning uncertainty to competitive advantage. The show where we interview the experts, feature the success stories, and share the strategies of what you need to know to turn your uncertainty to your competitive advantage.
Hey, this is Meridith Elliott Powell, and welcome to Thriving in Uncertainty, the show where we dive into the strategies, we discuss the steps, everything that you need to know to turn all of this uncertainty to your competitive advantage. And I got to tell you, today you are in for a treat because we're going to talk about something that everybody uses, everybody wants to know more about, and that is YouTube. I have the expert today, Nate Woodbury, on here with us. Welcome to the show, Nate.
Thanks. Definitely excited to be here.
Let me tell you how cool Nate is. He texted me right before this show and said, I had a little skin cancer removed, got a big bandage on my head. Doesn't bother me if it doesn't bother you. So I love that. But I am so excited to talk about this topic today because, you know, we felt like the future for a while has been video. But I've got to tell you, my friend's son said to me the other day, he said, I don't know why we even need to go to school when we have YouTube, right? I mean, that's how powerful YouTube is. But tell our viewers a little bit about you. And I'm curious, how did you become such an expert in YouTube and why?
Yeah, so I currently produce 14 daily YouTube channels plus some other miscellaneous channels. And I've achieved a pretty awesome track record of success. And going back to where it started, I kind of stumbled upon a strategy by accident. So I've had my company 11 years, but in the beginning it was web design and search engine optimization. And that was a lot of work. We did get web pages ranked #1 on Google, and we put a whole bunch of time and energy into doing that. One little piece of it was we put a how-to video on this web page. That was just one part that got it ranking. Well, I noticed going back, I think about 8 years ago, I noticed that this how-to video over on YouTube was getting 50 times more views than the page ranking #1 on Google.
Wow.
And so light bulb just went off in my head, like, you know, there's an opportunity here. And so I started to just pivot my company. I mean, we many years ago, we phased out the web design or SEO services. We focus 100% on YouTube because we know how to leverage it and get great results for building a tribe, building an audience, and for lead generation for businesses.
So when you look at businesses today, and you know, certainly 2020 was a challenging year, but 2021 is starting off pretty rocky. What do you see when you come across the clients that you work with? Some of the biggest challenges, worries, what's kind of keeping them up at night?
Well, there's a lot of change that has happened with the pandemic, right? And so people are either really suffering, or I've seen that they've adapted and are thriving. And you know, and it's hard for those that are trying to adapt. It's like there's people all over the spectrum. It's like you've got to be willing to make that pivot and make that change. And it is a hard one. It's a really tough one.
What is YouTube for everybody and every kind of business? And give us the reason of, you know, if I own a Main Street business, you're like me, you're a speaker, you're a consultant. What is the reason to get on YouTube, and is YouTube for everybody?
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. So the strategy that I use is certainly not the only strategy. My strategy is for a very specific type of business, you know, somebody who has expertise and their services or their products sell their expertise, you know, so whether it's through public speaking or coaching, or they sell courses, or they're an author, you know, they have some type of programs or retreats. That works so well on YouTube. But contrast that with, you know, a restaurant or a dentist or an attorney or an accountant who just focuses on local audiences. There is a way. There are strategies out there. That's not my focus, but the broad question is YouTube for everybody? Like, video is great. If we take a step back and say, is video for everybody? Well, if you want to promote yourself, if you want to build a relationship, I really do think video is powerful, and you should be on video. And there's no better platform than YouTube to do that, to really get it seen. So, my strategy is narrow, but there are other strategies out there just depending on what your business is. The one struggle is YouTube is global, right? It's definitely nationwide, and it's global. And if you're trying to just market locally, you're going to build a global following, and it's going to take some time before enough percentage of that is actually local. It's really hard to target locally.
Where does somebody start with YouTube, and why YouTube over video? I mean, obviously, when you caught on to what was working with you, you could have just let go of the web services and the SEO and just gone into video, but you really went specifically into YouTube. What was the attraction of that?
Well, the first thing is YouTube has this search engine. So before, we were focusing on Google and getting the website ranked on the top of Google so that we would get traffic and eyeballs. Well, with YouTube, we have Google and YouTube, both those search engines send traffic to a piece of content that really positioned me as an expert. And it really works. And so the key is, if I have expertise and I find the questions that people are typing in on Google or YouTube, all I have to do is make a video that answers that question, and now my target audience is finding me. So I don't, like with website SEO, there's competition. You've got somebody that's number one, and so you've got to compete until you are number one, and you push them to number two. But of course, they're going to compete some more. Well, when you go after really specific questions that people are asking, you make a video, that's your title, you answer the question, you're the expert on that topic, and you will attract an audience. So it works really, really well. The other advantage that YouTube has compared to Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or Vimeo or podcasts is YouTube's promotion engine. Because YouTube created a partner program, we really have a vested interest in when YouTube makes money from one of our videos, YouTube will promote that video. They share that revenue with us, but it's like such a huge promotion, and they give you all the data, so you can figure out why one video is performing better than another, and then you can take advantage of that information and make another video. So you can really leverage that and get YouTube to promote you. I mean, we're talking to the tune of millions of views often.
So you convinced me. YouTube's a pretty powerful place to be. So here I am, if I'm one of the listeners, and I've got a YouTube channel, which is, I assume this is probably a lot of people out there. We're on YouTube because we assume we need to be on YouTube, and we've got some videos up there, but not much organization and not much real thought as to what we're putting up there. Where do we start, and what does strategy look like?
Awesome question. That's the question everyone should be asking, because every platform has a unique strategy or a unique formula, right? So as an opposing example, I've got a friend who makes 1 minute long videos for Facebook. They're kind of like the tasty videos, recipe videos. Yeah. And she does really well. She's been a 7-figure earner for many, many years now. And there's a specific formula. She's got a network of people that do similar videos, and they all cross promote each other. She has to do things in a certain way to get results. So if I wanted to get that result on Facebook, I would do exactly what she did. I would follow her formula. If I were to go to LinkedIn, LinkedIn's a complete different platform, right? They've got their social selling index with the 5 different indicators, and you've got to do different types of activities to get those scores high. You've got to interact with people. You've got to get endorsements. You can post video up to 10 minutes, but you also need to post articles, and you need to comment and have people comment on yours. And so you need to learn that formula if you really want to leverage it right to get results on LinkedIn. Well, YouTube is the exact same. Well, they're completely different, but it's the exact same principle in that you have to follow YouTube's formula to get results. There are 5 ingredients that I teach. I don't know if we have time to go into all of them, and I'll share that there's my leaf strategy really helps you focus on what the title of your video should be, these questions that people are searching. I talk about the video length. I recommend between 10 and 12 minutes, and there's some reasons for that. So that's the length of each episode. You need to have a good percentage of that video watched, right? So ingredient number 3 is watch time. You've got to shoot for like at least 50%. You know, so if people are coming watching your video, they only watch a minute of it and then like, okay, I think I got the gist of this, and then they leave, you know, your YouTube's not going to promote you. 4th ingredient we could talk in detail about is custom thumbnails and creating that still image that makes people want to click. And then the 5th ingredient's kind of a doozy, but with my formula, you got to post 5 episodes per week. Wow. And that's crazy for people like us that have busy schedules, busy lives, busy careers. And so like I've got a client upstairs right now in our studio. He's filming 20 episodes today. Got a client here yesterday, filmed 20 episodes. Tomorrow, 20 episodes. So that the point of that is we film in bulk. It takes all day to film 20 episodes, but then you don't have to film again for 4 more weeks. So we find systematic ways of doing that so that we can follow every one of these ingredients in the formula, and it really, really works.
All right, I'm intrigued. Let's start right at the top with number 1, and let's talk about the fact that the title and subject of your videos should be a question. Why and how do you know which question you ought to be titling?
All right, so let's do the why first. Why is it's a way of you finding your target audience instantly, and it's just a small audience. Let me kind of paint a picture. So there's a tool that I use, and I'll even tell you what it is. It's the company makes it is called semrush.com, and I used them back in my website SEO days. They've been around a while, but a couple years ago they came out with a brand new tool called the Keyword Magic Tool, and I can put a topic in there, just you know, any broad topic, something that I have expertise in, whether it's YouTube or video or lighting. And you could put in anything from leadership to coaching to change to real estate, you know, whatever your expertise is. You hit the search button and you turn on 2 filters. There's a questions button. So you filter out any of the search results that aren't questions. And then I turn the word count to a minimum of 8 or more. That's kind of my default. I can make adjustments. But this tool automatically gives me a long list of tons of long questions relating to my expertise. So that's the how. That's how I find them. And you know, I train on this for a couple of hours, so I could go into a lot more detail on that. But that's the simple truth is you can use a tool, you can find these long questions. And here's what happens. Let me just come up with a real specific one, or I want to try and remember one though. How to help, let's see, how can I guess I'm not going to be able to exactly quote it, but how to help a dental office increase in productivity, right? So it's something like that. I knew that words were not in that exact order, but if I were to make a video, let's say a few months ago, I filmed a video on increasing productivity. And then I did keyword research today, and I found that title, how a dental office can increase productivity. I can't go back and just give my old video that title. I have to do the keyword research first so that I know I'm talking specifically to a dental team, right? A dental staff. And so now I know the title, and I'll film that video. So now think of this. If a dental team or a dentist goes to Google or YouTube and they type in that question, they see my video pop up. They're like, oh, that's exactly what I was searching for. And so of course they're going to watch my video because I'm talking directly to them, and they're going to watch all the way to the end. So the YouTube algorithm sees that and says, wow, this is a good video. They just watched the whole thing. Let's find more people. Let's find more dentists that we can show this video to. So even if they're, you know, in the beginning, it's triggered by that search, but then once the algorithm has enough data, it will then find other people just like that dentist to show that video to.
So if I'm understanding you right, if most people, when we Google and we search, we're searching in the form of a question.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm so intrigued by the fact that that videos should be 10 to 12 minutes. That is really opposite of what I've typically heard. And how the heck do I get somebody to listen to me for 10 minutes on a video? So what about that? I mean, because pretty much what we're hearing is, oh, keep them under a minute, 2 to 3 max.
Yeah, and that's common, and that's still taught today, and that applies when you're talking about a promo video, right?
Okay.
Because with a commercial, it's really hard to keep people's attention because they know that they're being sold to, right? Super Bowl commercials are some of the best examples. They're like so high energy and so fun and funny and they're doing that just to keep our attention for 30 or 60 seconds.
Yeah.
With a how-to video, people do have a much higher attention span. They know that you're not selling them, but we're actually giving them value, and they want to stick around because they want that. And I actually want to demonstrate how you could set up a video that will make people want to stick around for the full 10 minutes. All right. So a friend of mine, Doreen, she is a nutritionist and has a lot of natural remedies. And we found a title for her, How to Get Rid of Strep Throat Without Antibiotics. So for just a minute, I'm going to pretend that that's my expertise.
Okay.
If I were diving into
Love
this
it.
video, here's what not to do example that might only get people to stick around for 30 seconds. All right. And then I'll give you a better example. Okay, as we dive into this topic of how to get rid of strep throat without antibiotics, you're going to need 3 ingredients. You need fresh garlic, raw honey, and cayenne pepper. Mix all that together and take that, and that'll wipe out your strep throat. Okay, so that's
I'm
example
done,
1.
right?
Let's see if you can tell a difference with my second example. Okay, as we dive into this topic of how to get rid of strep throat without antibiotics, first, we're going to be talking about why not antibiotics. And there's some reasons why you might want to consider an alternative. Then there are 3 ingredients. We're going to be talking about each one and how they're a natural antiviral and a natural antibacterial. Then we're going to go into the kitchen, and I'll show you how to make this and how to take it, dosage and whatnot. And then I'll wrap up with a story about my son when he was really young. He had a high fever and he had strep throat. And we used this remedy, and he had a side effect that you're going to want to know about because I bet you'll experience that side effect as well. Let's dive right in.
Yeah.
All right, so that sounds like a 10-minute video, right? And I set hooks all along the way, so that you're like, okay, this is what's coming, and I'm gonna get cozy for this.
Nice. So let them know up front, and then kind of bait them into versus the other one where you gave me the information right up front. What are some of the biggest mistakes you see people making with YouTube? Because I imagine you're a bit of a YouTube snob.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously I eat and drink and breathe YouTube every day. You know, a lot of people have heard my training, heard my strategy, and they skip over that keyword research strategy. They'll invest in expensive gear, thinking that's going to help their videos get better performance. And really, what's most important is the content, and you've got to have an audience. So what that keyword research strategy does is you have an audience already built into the video. You know that there's people out there that want to watch this topic, so you create that video, and the YouTube algorithm and search engine does the rest. So that's a big problem. Another big problem is people are afraid to start ugly. Right? They think, you know what, I've got to get this thing perfect before I actually go live, and it just gets delayed and delayed and delayed. I used to say, done is better than perfect. But then my friend Chris Krimitsos wrote the book Start Ugly, and I'm like, yeah, I like that. That's the principle he talked about. So I think that's another problem is fear, just fear holding people back.
And why that is so funny. I mean, people ask me a lot about doing these live streams, and I had no idea what I was doing. The very first live stream I did, I was just dark on the screen for what seemed to me like an hour and a half. I'm sure it was 2 minutes. And everybody said, "Weren't you embarrassed?" And I said, "No, I'm not going to learn unless I try." And I didn't know what I was doing. I tried to research it, but I screwed up, and I just kept coming. Back. So I could definitely see that. Why do the custom thumbnails matter, and why do you have to publish so much video?
So custom thumbnails have become more important each year for the past several years because everyone is doing them. And so when you open up YouTube and you've got this whole menu of videos to choose from, our eyes go to the one that catch our attention, and we click the ones that create curiosity. So when we upload a video to YouTube, YouTube will create an automatic thumbnail, but it's just a random screen capture. I'm sure there's some strategy to it, but they don't work very well. And so it's important for us to, maybe we go and we take a screen capture from the right moment, a part that's kind of a key part of the video that will create curiosity. And we can brighten it up. We can zoom in a little bit. We can add a couple words of text like, this just happened, something like that will like, ooh,
Yeah.
And so by doing that, you can use the tool canva.com. It's free, and you can use that to create your custom thumbnail. That'll make a huge difference in the performance of your video. It'll really be hard these days, even if a video was produced by Steven Spielberg or something, but it didn't have a custom thumbnail, it's probably not going to get very many clicks. And then you talked about why so many. That is a good question. I've done experiments with 1 episode a week all the way up to 4 episodes a week, and you build steady, gradual momentum. You do get that search traffic, and so the channels do become lead generators. And I recommend for anybody, if you're hesitant to start or you don't have the capacity to start with 5 episodes a week, start with 1. Just take those steps. My biggest channel that I started from 0, it's now at 600,000 subscribers. For the first 2.5 years on that channel, we only launched 1 episode per week. And then at the 2.5 year mark, we then increased it up to 5. Just to give you some perspective, in 2.5 years launching 1 episode a week, we grew from 0 to 12,000 subscribers. When we went to 5, just 6 months later, we were at 65,000 subscribers. We started to get a lot of that promotion from YouTube. And so why is that? I don't know the answer. I just have experienced it on channel after channel after channel. My guess is YouTube wants live active channels. They want lots of content, and it actually typically takes about 4 months. So even when you're going that aggressive, 5 episodes a week, you don't typically see much from it until you get to the 4-month mark. So maybe the algorithm is like, we want to see if this YouTuber is really serious. And so it's kind of like we're building a relationship of trust with that YouTube algorithm. And finally it's like, okay, they're solid, let's go. That's what I experienced. So
that would make sense to me. I mean, YouTube's reputation is on it, so that they want to push out YouTubers that are, really doing a good job. How important is it to keep your YouTube clean, though? I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking how long I've had my YouTube channel, and I am sure my hair color and the wrinkles in my face were very different from the very first YouTube videos I shot, and they could still be up there.
It's fun. Some of the biggest YouTube channels, you look back in their history and their early stuff is still there. It's fun to see, like, this is where they were and where they are today. If you've got something on there that you're just totally embarrassed about, and maybe you have a different branding, then go ahead and unlist it or whatnot. But I don't really think that your history of videos is gonna hurt. You just, if you didn't have strategy in the past and now a good YouTube strategy, just start with where you're at. And you want to stay consistent with your strategy. If you're making a whole bunch of say business related videos or investing, let's say we'll go specific, like investing in real estate is your topic. And then, I'm going to go fly fishing and I'm just going to make a vlog about it and post that there. And, that can kind of confuse the audience and confuse the algorithm as well.
So you've got to sort of keep to your niche and what you're focused on with your particular channel. And if I want to talk about my travels across the world or something, I need to do that on another YouTube channel.
Yeah, and there are ways to combine it, but you just want to have a clear strategy. I mean, if I named my channel, I'm not real estate. That was just the example I thought of. But if I named my channel, real estate hacks, I've got to only talk about real estate. If I name it Nate Woodbury or Meridith's channel, sorry, can't say her name, Meridith. Then obviously when it's our name, we do have flexibility to talk more about. We can talk about our hobbies or whatnot, but we have to think like, what is the purpose of our channel? Is our channel a lead generator? Is it for a business? Why do we want to talk about fly fishing or horseback riding or whatnot? And I've experimented with that. I've done some things where I'm just like, I want to vlog, and so I took a day in Shanghai on a layover and just made a fun vlog, and it's a really cool episode. It doesn't really relate to what I talk about.
Right.
So anyway, in generally, on the other hand, when you build a big audience and people know you, you can really eventually get to a point where you can post whatever you want and people will watch it. And you'll get some complaints, but you'll have a big enough audience that you can do. But in the beginning, it's really hard to get traction if you don't have a real solid focus.
Nate, I got to tell you, this has been fantastic. I can't believe we are at the end of the show. I hope I can drag you back because I've been making notes here, and I probably have about 20 other questions. I want to wind up with two though, and number one is I want you to tell the audience how to get a hold of you, how to find you, how to find out more about your 5-step strategy, what you do, and then I want you to leave the audience with one piece of advice. I mean, really, if they're going to make 2021 successful, what's your biggest piece of advice?
All right. So how to get a hold of me? I would look up Nate Woodbury on YouTube. You can find a lot of tips and tricks and advice that I share there. And my website is betheherostudios.com. So that's how you can connect with me. When you ask that question about big piece of advice, and this is advice to business owners, but one of the biggest blessings to me in my business, back when I started, I learned about the opportunity of hiring people in the Philippines. And it might seem strange to just single out one country. I've currently got 14 full-time employees, and I'm hiring 8 more right now. Our business has been really I could spend a long time talking about this too, but I imagine hiring, say, a video editor or any type of job that somebody could do from their home on using the computer and internet. And it would be a huge blessing for them to earn an income of $450 per month. They're people that are skilled, that have college educations, that are, hoping to find a job that will at least pay them a few $100s a month. And if we can pay them $400 or $500 a month, it's a huge blessing to them. Being able to bless their lives and have that be such a huge blessing to me, it's a game changer. It really is. And so that's, if you're in a place where you could just imagine duplicating yourself and having an additional 8 hours per day, I would certainly look into that. I've got a friend who built a website. It's virtualassistanttool.com, and it's a great way to find Filipino virtual assistants.
Oh, I love that. Virtualassistanttool.com. I think that's a great piece of advice. I think that, it's one of the blessings of one of the crazy silver linings of COVID is that we truly are global, and, people are working from home everywhere, and you have that access to be able to work with people even in the Philippines. But congratulations on your business booming and growing. And again, thank you so much for joining us today. I do want to have you back because I have so many more questions. And I think YouTube is probably going to continue to be a pretty significant part of all of us growing our businesses. And one of the things that we need to do to really thrive in an uncertain marketplace. So I want to thank everybody again for joining us. Don't forget to tune into my website, valuespeaker.com, just the term valuespeaker.com. If you hit the purple bar at the top, you will get free tools and resources to turn all of this uncertainty to your competitive advantage. And we'll see you next week for another episode and another set of strategies you need to really emerge successful. Thank you.